All right, here we are again. He answered me and said, things that are present are for those who live now, and things that are future are for those who will live hereafter." Right? I mean, again, this is it's all about the present moment, right? In the future, it's going to be the present moment, and so it's all about the now, not about the future. This is a part of we're born into a part of the story that we don't choose to be in. "For you come far short of being able to love my creation more than I love it. But you have often compared yourself to the unrighteous. Never do so. But even in this respect, you will be praiseworthy before the Most High, because you have humbled yourself, as is becoming for you, and have not deemed yourself to be among the righteous in order to receive the greatest glory. For many miseries will affect those who inhabit the world in the last times, because they have walked in great pride." Right, again, like earlier he says, if you think they're unrighteous now, wait till you see the people of the future, right? The people of the future are going to be really, really unrighteous, right? And so don't think that they're going to be, doing any better than you. They're going to have to go through their own sufferings. And again, this is what I constantly see this is about. That it hinges on this definition of success and failure. Because for this Ezra guy and for this Ezra guy's God, it's all about love and justice and seeing properly and respecting others, right? Righteousness. It's all about being a good, decent person. And it does, you succeed if you're loving, even if you so-called fail in this world, or whether you're successful in this world. And I think that would be the true definition of the saved, right? The saved are those who live God's law, no matter what time they're living in. I think maybe this is what the true saved would be, because when we're talking about saved in the text, it's Ezra asking God questions, and he's like, "What about all these guys in the future? They're saved, and because they're going to be living a more holy, righteous life. But us now, we have to suffer." And this God person is like, "No, it's all about the individual story, and you guys have your story, and the people of the future will have their story, and God loves all the stories." I think that's what's going on here. "For many miseries will inhabit the world in the last times." But think of your own case, and inquire concerning the glory of those who are like yourself. Because it is for you that paradise is opened. So in other words, God is saying that Ezra is one of the glorious ones. I think that's what's going on right here. It's like you Ezra might be living in unrighteous times, but you're the gold. You're precious to God. Again, there's this intimacy there. Ezra's precious to God, and a lot of times it's because of the times Ezra's living in. Ezra's trying to fight against a tsunami or an avalanche. Because it is for you that paradise is opened, the tree of life is planted, the age to come is prepared, plenty is provided, a city is built, rest is appointed, goodness is established and wisdom perfected beforehand. So in other words, that's what Ezra's doing right now, and that's what he's telling us he's doing. Like, he's doing his job. He's a shepherd of the Jews. But I think that's what this Ezra guy is talking about. Again, people keep talking about this like Messiah guy. But I think what this Ezra guy is talking about is that in the future there's going to be a high priest of all of the people in the world. But Ezra himself is he's doing his job. He's chasing the wolves out. He's doing his job. He's living this glorious life that Yahweh just loves. Yahweh loves Ezra shepherding his people. And Ezra is preparing the way for this appointed day that he's talking about, where you're going to have this countenance change, and the righteous are going to be like, we've had enough. Shit. We've finally had enough. Shit. Fuck this shit. The root of evil is sealed up from you. The root of evil. Illness is banished from you, and death is hidden. Hell has fled, and corruption has been forgotten. Sorrows have passed away, and in the end, the treasure of immortality is made manifest. So the treasure of immortality, again, that I don't think that's talking about, theological ideas of the afterlife. And again, he's criticized this idea of doing things for the sake of future reward. Now, that's not to say he doesn't believe in the afterlife or future reward. But he believes in the immortality of the now. And the immortality of the now can only be found within holiness. I believe this is what he thinks. Therefore, do not ask any more questions about the multitude of those who perish. For they also received freedom, but they despised the Most High and were contemptuous of his law and forsook his ways. Now, who are these people that despised the Most High? Well, Adam would be one of these people who despised the Most High. So people keep getting caught up in this idea of heaven and hell. But I don't think that's what's going on in this text, because he's talking about the now. And Adam despised the ways of holiness. And Adam sacrificed himself totally for Eve. And, in the result is fucking misery and toil, obviously. But Adam, this person, they're not being condemned to hell. This Ezra person is totally not talking about heaven and hell. He's totally talking about the now. The now. And the treasure of immortality is just living a more whole life. How many, I've watched so many men online who have since died. And these are videos of them before old age and death. And they were these, after their successes, they were standing there and they were telling the interviewer, they're like, man, I have one regret. And that one regret is I didn't spend enough time with my family. They yearned for holiness, but, they had to succeed in this 3D world. So yeah, no, I think that's what this immortality means. Hell has fled and corruption has been forgotten. I mean, think about like a narcissist or control freak. They're just relentless in trying to control somebody and dominate them. And so, but hell has fled, right? This is a reversal. Instead of being abused by the toxic are running away. I mean, and so those who are contemptuous of his laws are not like, yeah, no, this is talking about people who are murderers and thieves and liars and all that other stuff. But it's also talking about good men whom God, Yahweh loves, but they are acting in this unwise way. You know, they lack this shepherding power to see the proper path, to see properly. And it is these good people who are um, being talked about right now. Because again, this like, I don't even know if there's paragraphs in the actual Torah, because we have all these numbers. I don't think there are numbers, and there are no headlines in the actual Torah. But at the beginning of this paragraph, it talks about, so whoever broke this up broke it up pretty well, because at the beginning of this paragraph, it talks about the now. And I think that's what's continuing to be talked about with this immortality is made manifest. Therefore, do not ask any more questions about the multitude. Oh no, for they also receive freedom, but they despised the Most High, and were contemptuous of his law and forsook his ways. So Adam gets what he deserves. The unrighteous, they get what they deserve. Therefore God will long suffer them. Moreover, they even trampled upon his righteous ones, and said in their hearts that there is no God, though knowing full well that they must die. For just as the things which I have predicted await you, so the thirst and torment which are prepared await them. For the Most High did not intend that men should be destroyed, but that they themselves who were created have defiled the name of him who made them, and have been ungrateful to him who prepared life for them. Therefore my judgment is now drawing near. I have not shown this to all men, but only to you and a few like you. I mean, this is all about free will. This God of Ezra, this God of the Torah, is a God of freedom. And you get exactly what you put in. Then I answered and said, Behold, O Lord, thou hast not shown me a multitude of the signs which thou wilt do in the last times, but behold, O Lord, thou hast now shown me a multitude of the signs which thou wilt do in the last times, but thou hast not shown me when thou wilt do them. So, I mean, one of the things that I see right here is, I mean, Ezra's just kind of being this little brat, right? He's fishing for information, right? And he's like, there's this cute little back and forth, I think, between God and Ezra right here. And Ezra's desperately trying to get information out of this Yahweh character, who will answer you with riddles, right, instead of answers. He answered me and said, Measure carefully in your mind, and when you see that a certain part of the predicted signs are past, then you will know that it is the very time when the Most High is about to visit the world which he has made. So when there shall appear in the world earthquakes, tumult of peoples, intrigues of nations, wavering of leaders, confusion of princes, then you will know that it was of these that the Most High spoke from the days that were of the old from the beginning. For just as with everything that has occurred in the world, the beginning is evident and the end manifest, so are the times of the Most High. The beginnings are manifest in wonders and mighty works, and the end in requital and signs. And it shall be that everyone who will be saved and will be able to escape on account of his works, or on account of the faith by which he has believed, will survive the dangers that have been predicted, and will see my salvation in the land and within my borders, which I have sanctified for myself from the beginning. Okay, again, this is kind of what I'm talking about in this cute little interaction between God and Ezra. Because, like, what is he talking about? Oh, there's going to be earthquakes and tumults and intrigues and wavering of leaders and confusion of princes. Isn't that like all times? Like, this is a very hack answer that God's giving so far in this beginning of this so-called answer. But when we keep going, I think that's the point. I think that's the point. Everything is going to have a beginning and the end. You have, people talk about the rise and fall of Rome, or the rise and fall of the Ottomans, or the rise and fall of the British, the rise and fall of Nobody talks about the rise and fall of the Germans, because it was after the Romans fell that the Germans rose. And it's only been in the last century that they fell. So you had this 1,000-year rule of Europe by the Germans. And then when he talks about the rise and fall of the Germans. But I think that's what's happening right here, maybe. He's just, like, God's just telling, like, Ezra's asking specifically, when is this specific prophecy going to happen? And God's just giving him this generic answer, which says that no, there's always a rise, there's always a beginning and an end. The signs are always there. The signs are always there. Like, oh my God, like, if you, like, we live here in the United States in this so-called democracy, right? But if you go around the country and you ask people about, just anything in the world, and they're completely clueless as to what's happening in the world. So how can you have a democracy with a bunch of ignorant people in it? You can't. So it's like, hey, maybe that's a sign that things are not going well. Oh, OMG here. Get that out of the way. So far I see a generic answer happening right here, rather than him specifically answering about this specific time in the future, I think. And where am I? And it shall be that everyone who will be saved and will be able to escape on account of his works, or on account of the faith by which he has believed will survive the dangers that have been predicted, and will see my salvation in my land and within my borders, which I have sanctified for myself from the beginning. Then those who have now abused my ways shall be amazed, and those who have rejected them with contempt shall dwell in torments. For as many did not acknowledge me in their lifetime, although they received my benefits, and as many as scorned my law while they still had freedom, did not understand but despised it, while an opportunity of repentance was still open to them, these must in torment acknowledge it after death. Therefore do not continue to be curious as to how the ungodly will be punished, but inquire how the righteous will be saved, those to whom the age belongs and for whose sake the age was made. Okay, and it shall be that everyone who will be saved. So again, saved. This is talking about the time of after this time of righteousness, where the people are like just had enough, and will be able to escape on account of his works. Right. So again, there's the idea of faith and works in this text. Works is referring specifically to righteous people. Right. So again, there's two different types of righteous people being contrasted in this text here. There's the righteous people who are righteous for God in their mouth and in their emotions, right? But then the righteous ones, the truly righteous ones, are going to be righteous not in their mouths, but in their works. Again, this is why I said in an earlier video that righteousness is cold, swift, and silent. Like that's what's being said here, I think. So this text right here has nothing to do with this modern debate over faith and works. Again, the faith of a righteous man who's like, murder is wrong, liars are wrong, thieves are wrong, pedophiles are wrong, corruption is wrong, and I don't give a damn about any jurisdiction other than the jurisdictions of my own heart. And I'm going to go out there and I'm going to act against these criminals. Again, this is not a polemic. I'm just saying this is what's being said in this text. Completely. Totally. Because the righteous in the future, those who are saved in the future, are going to go out there and they're going to get shit done. They're not going to stand around whining. Oh, why? Why do the evil succeed? Why? You know, because God is sitting back asking the same thing. Why do the evil succeed? I want to watch some good movie. I want to watch a good story. Right? Where the hero puts his life on the line. Whether he succeeds or fails. He's got faith. Right? Faith and works are together in this idea of righteousness. Right? This is a righteousness that just goes out there and doesn't put up with bullshit. I answered and said, I said before, and I say now, and will say again, there are more who perish than those who will be saved. As a wave is greater than a drop of water. So again, this is this is what I like about this text, because he's constantly presenting himself to you as, oh, he was fasting, and because he was fasting, he was hungry, and because he was hungry, he got a little cranky, and because he got a little cranky, he said some things to God that, oh my OMG, maybe he shouldn't have said. Mm. And the pious reader, are going to take that and you're going to run with it. You're going to be like, oh yeah, he was tired. He was tired. He was. But look at this question right here. Look at this question right here. Like, listen, listen. I said now, or no, I said before, and I say now, and will say it again. There are more who perish than those who will be saved, as a wave is greater than a drop of water. Ezra is accusing God of being evil, and he's constantly doing it. Like this conversation seems to like continuously repeat itself, and that's why like I would need to study it before saying anything definitively about it, because there just seems to be like he just seems to just keep pushing this point, and he's accusing God right now. Like this is a man, and he's and this is what it means to love God with your whole heart. Like he's accusing God of being impious and unloving and unfair. He answered and said, as is the field, so is the seed. And as are the flowers, so are the colors. And as is the work, so is the product. And as is the farmer, so is the threshing floor. For there was a time in this age when I was preparing for those who now exist, before the world was made for them to dwell in. And no one opposed me then, for no one existed. But now those who have been created in this world, which is supplied both with an unfailing table and an inexhaustible pasture, have become corrupt in their ways. Right? I mean, we as a people don't experience an unfailing table or an inexhaustible pasture. But that is the world that God created. It is abundant. Scarcity is artificially created by the wicked. And it is only the unrighteous who don't give a shit. So fuck you guys. So I consider my world, and behold, it was lost, and my earth, and behold, it was in peril because of the devices of those who had come into it. And I saw and spared some with great difficulty, and saved for myself one grape out of a cluster, and one plant out of a great forest. So let the multitude perish which has been born in vain, but let my grape and my plant be saved, because with much labor I have perfected them. But if you will let 7 days more pass, do not fast during them, however, but go into a field of flowers, where no house has been built, and eat only the flowers of the field, and taste no meat or drink no wine, but eat only flowers, and pray to the Most High continually, and then I will come talk with you. Alright, we'll stop it right there. That's, whoa. I don't know. Yeah, no, I don't know.